Hey guys, Tom Barton from TomBartonSports.com, and we are going to do a little something different today. We're going to give my opinion on Carlos Correa coming to the Yankees. Look, I'm a Yankee fan. We're going to dive into this, and I think it's a little controversial take, but we'll get into this. First of all, guys, remember, if you like this video, please subscribe to the channel. I just made 100 subscribers, so please, let's build it up. I want to see an extra 0 on the back of that. So that is 100 subscribers. Thank you to everybody that is subscribing. Now let's get into it. Look, maybe I shouldn't say that this is the case of what I think of Carlos Correa more than the case against Carlos Correa. Before I begin, I want to say this. Look, he is a massively talented player. Very talented. That doesn't mean he's a fit. He's also a guy that you look at and you go, he might even be better than what he's shown. Doesn't necessarily mean he's a fit. So here's why I don't like the idea of Carlos Correa coming to the New York Yankees. And there's a lot of this going around where I do see Yankee fans not wanting him to be here because they don't like him because he wore a Houston uniform and whatnot. But I'm going to break it down a little further. First of all, the New York Yankees are exploring the options for Seager, Correa, Trevor Story was mentioned, any kind of shortstop. I'm a guy that's going, do we really want to go out there, spend a 10-year contract, $300+ million, maybe $400 million on a position that really right now we're okay with. In the future, we might be very okay with. I know, look, young guys are young guys, right? And you got to look at what's on the roster. But Volpe looks really good. Barraza looks really good. They just drafted Sweeney. You could say some of them could move to third base. But the reality is this, is that Carlos Correa has a body of somebody that they mentioned, just like Manny Machado. Once he got into his upper 20s, he's 27, he would be going to third base anyhow. So are you really paying this money for a shortstop, or are you paying it for a future third baseman? It's a slight concern of mine. The same thing with Seager, and the same thing with Trevor Story. Even Story maybe even going to second base. Are you paying for the shortstop? There's no way in 10 years from now, or 9 years from now, if we give him a 10-year contract, there's no way that Carlos Correa is going to be playing shortstop. I'm sorry, it's just not going to happen. He's a big body guy that you already see the transition. Look, it happens to the best of them. Happened to Cal Ripken, right? Happened to A-Rod. You already see these big body guys that are going to have to move to third base. I don't think paying this contract for a third baseman is going to be worth it. That's first of all. And that's not really against Carlos Correa. That's just in general. I also have a problem giving a 10-year contract to somebody and saying, okay, here's your 10-year contract. You're now the face of this franchise. Not when we have Aaron Judge sitting out there. And I'm not advocating giving a 10-year contract to Judge and all these young guys coming up through the system. No, whoever you give that contract to is now the face of the franchise. The New York Yankees also don't exactly have the greatest history giving out big, giant contracts. Mark Teixeira was a good player. Not sure that contract lived up to the billing. CC Sabathia, we all loved him. And the reality, you know what, that was kind of an anchor for the end. Giancarlo Stanton, we took on that contract. Had a great year. I worry about that. You go look at A-Rod, right? Was anybody happy with A-Rod at the end of the year? And I get it. Look, 10-year contracts, you're paying for the first 5 years, and then you're hoping that there's just not a disaster on the back end. I understand that. But my concern here is that, do you have to pay that? When the Yankees have different needs, especially in Carlos Correa's situation, he's a right-handed bat. He's a right-handed bat that, let's be honest, look, everyone's talking about off-the-field stuff. Let's get to the on-the-field stuff. The guy's a 279 lifetime hitter, right? I mean, he's not somebody that's exploding and putting it together like the Yankees need. He has good numbers. He's got a 7-year career. He's a 279 hitter. Last year was his peak season in home runs with 26. He also has never driven in 100 runs, despite being in that giant Houston lineup that everybody could kind of drive in 100 runs. That's all concerning to me. They're not eye-popping numbers. They're not out-of-this-world numbers. 26 home runs, 279 average, 90 RBIs. Very nice. Is that what the Yankees are missing? Absolutely not. So Carlos Correa, I believe, is a little bit overrated. And you go, well, Tom, those numbers aren't great because of the injuries. Bingo! Exactly. I worry about this guy being injured. Again, a big-bodied shortstop often is going to carry the injuries. And in his 7-year career, really one healthy season, and that's about it. So you start to look at him breaking down, moving positions, big-time contract, and then you have the idea that Carlos Correa, look, he's just not a good teammate. He's not a good guy. He's not a good face of the franchise. He's coming from Houston. Yankee fans are already going to be a little annoyed at him. Yeah, they'll cheer him when he hits a big home run, but he's not a guy that they're going to embrace. I don't think this town ever really embraced A-Rod, right? The town is just now starting to maybe sort of embrace Giancarlo, and not even that much. So that's already against him. He's going to have to come in and do double what he's normally doing. And 26-279, that's not what the Yankees fans are expecting, not when you're giving out these kind of huge contracts. And that's his norms. 26 is actually his high. So you're coming in here, you're telling me if Carlos Correa hits 279, 22 home runs, and 85 RBIs, Yankee fans aren't going to be upset? But that's actually what we should expect from him as Yankee fans, and that's not going to make anybody happy. You also have the idea, and I'll never forget this, back during the World Baseball Classic years ago, he came out and made a statement that I thought was so boneheaded and so just stupid at the time that I couldn't believe it, but I reread it and I said, no, that's what he was saying. That the World Baseball Classic Championship for Puerto Rico meant more than the World Series. Is that somebody you want on your team? And remember, the guy already has had success. The guy already has rings. It's not like he would be coming to New York to get that ring and needs it. And no, Yankee fans, we know the Gary Sanchez, profile. We know what he is. A lot of talent, a little bit of a head case. I yell at my Little League team. I said, don't walk to first base. Don't lollygag out there. Don't be Gary Sanchez. Carlos Correa has had instances in his career where he's gotten into it with teammates, where he's gotten a little lazy. He doesn't necessarily walk to first base, but there's not exactly that, we have to make sure that it's perfect. And then you go with the fielding. He's a solid fielder, solid, okay? But again, makes a lot of bonehead plays. So a guy out there that is already the enemy to the fans, you're going to give a 10-year contract to and say you're the face of the franchise. You're going to go out there, give a 10-year contract to a right-handed batter when this team clearly needs a lefty. You're going to go out there and you're going to give him a contract and say, we hope that you don't continue to break down, but all we've seen is you breaking down. We hope we don't have to make you a third baseman, but likely you're going to be a third baseman. This is a dumb situation for Brian Cashman to dive into. I like that he's exploring the option. Got to explore all options, okay? But don't outbid yourself here. If you can get Correa at a discount, maybe. But this is a guy that just doesn't fit on so many levels. This is a player that doesn't fit at all. He is a guy that you like on your team. He's a guy that is a secondary good player on your team, but there's too much out there. I like the young kids coming up. I like the fact that this is Judge's team, and guess what? You're going to have to give him a contract. I like the idea of getting this team better, but not with Carlos Correa. Carlos Correa, if you become a New York Yankee, look, I'm going to cheer you when you do good, but I'm going to make sure that I don't have my expectations where I think most Yankee fans would. 279, 20 to 25 homers, 85 to 90 RBIs is very good, but it's not 10-year face of the franchise, $300+ million good. Not in my opinion. All right, guys. That's going to do it for me. I'm Tom Barton from TomBartonSports.com. Go check me out over on Twitter. It's Tom Barton Sports. And please subscribe to the channel. We just went over 100. I want to get to the extra 0. I want to get to 1,000. That's when you really make it on YouTube. So make sure that all my friends listen in and subscribe to the channel. Thanks a lot. Have a good day.